We've experienced the horror of September the 11th. We cannot wait for the final proof, the smoking gun that could come in the form of a mushroom cloud.
The propaganda that drew us into this war is now guaranteeing our defeat. The deception isn't over. The deception is continuing.
Saddam Hussein can kiss his butt goodbye.
We're no longer a superpower. We're a super-duper power.
Those weapons of mass destruction got to be somewhere.
But it turned out that the sourcing was inaccurate and wrong, and in some cases deliberately misleading.
Nope, no weapons over there. In my line of work, you got to keep repeating things over and over and over again for the truth to sink in, to kind of catapult the propaganda.
This book is about how the United States defeated itself by believing its own spin. In military terms, it's called incestuous amplification. It means believing your own propaganda.
There is no doubt that Saddam Hussein now has weapons of mass destruction.
They told us the war was going to be a cakewalk.
We're dealing with a country that can really finance its own reconstruction and relatively soon.
And it will be quicker and easier than many people think.
But the reality was the realists in the Pentagon, in the CIA, in the State Department knew that wasn't the case. Before the invasion, the State Department's Future of Iraq project warned that looting and an insurgency were likely. So did the Army's Chief of Staff.
The kinds of ethnic tensions that could lead to other problems.
But Cheney and Rumsfeld didn't want to hear the truth.
If your analysis is not correct and the Iraqis begin to resist, particularly in Baghdad.
I don't think it's likely to unfold that way, Tim, because I really do believe we will be greeted as liberators.
And instead of listening to some of the best experts in our own government, they plugged their ears, closed their eyes, drank the Kool-Aid, and marched the United States into Islam.
It could last, 6 days, 6 weeks. I doubt 6 months.
Stuff happens, and it's untidy, and free people are free to make mistakes and commit crimes and do bad things.
They're in the last throes, if you will, of the insurgency.
Insurgencies tend to go on 5, 6, 8, 10, 12 years.
The Cold War lasted 40-plus years.
Was a robust insurgency on your list that you gave the president?
I don't remember.
Listen, every war plan looks good on paper until you meet the enemy.
So why was the advice of the experts on Iraq ignored by this administration? Because it was bad PR. The neocons worried that if they are realistic and upfront about the war, the American people wouldn't buy it. And the people who sold us this war are still in power and trying to sell us an expansion into Iran and into Syria.
The Iranian regime is today the world's leading state sponsor of terrorism.
Perhaps senior al-Qaeda are still being harbored inside that country.
Yes, indeed.
I think we ought to execute some airstrikes against Syria.
Look at all the different connectivity. You'd have to say to yourself, this is in fact World War III.
This notion that the United States is getting ready to attack Iran is simply ridiculous. Having said that, all options are on the table.
We're still listening to the people who got it wrong, and no one is holding them accountable. Not the news media, not the opposition party. I think that's why it's so critical that the voters of America wake up, realize what's been done, and swear it'll stop. We hope not to write a sequel to the best war ever.